Hello and welcome. This is Fireworks. The ninth session of the National Assembly, specifically the House of Representatives, may have taken off on an unsteady footing with the announcement of Honorable Ottah Agbo as minority leader. How are the House and party leadership dealing with the disagreements and disaffection emanating from aggrieved parties to the matter? We'll put this through to a member of the House who has been mandated to speak on matters arising. Welcome to your preferred Hard Talk interview program on TVC. I am Bukola Samuel Webimo. Let's take a moment. Thank you for staying tuned. Today, my guest is the Honorable Member representing Ottah Agbo Federal Constituency of Benue State. He's also the spokesman, Minority Caucus Group of the House of Representatives, Dr. Francis Ottah Agbo. Welcome to Fireworks.
Thank you, Boki.
So, we all watched with amazement, the events following Right Honorable Gbajabiamila's announcement of Honorable Ottah Agbo. The drama, the protests, at the House of Representatives. So, from your experience, what really happened?
What happened on the 11th of June, 2019 was not new. You recall that in 2015, something similar to what happened on the 11th of June happened. You also remember that in 2011, something similar also happened. What happened in that election of the minority leadership was not also new. If you recall, the APC in 2015 nominated the current Senate President, Lawan. The party wanted him to be the majority leader of the Senate. But the members of the APC, including the then Senate President, Saraki, they all came together and they opted for Ali Ndume. Because it was Ali Ndume that majority of the senators wanted. So what has happened in the choice of Ottah Agbo as against the preferred candidate of the party wasn't also new. It has happened before. So if you look at all the trajectory, all this information I've given to you, you will also see that what the House did was actually in compliance with the House standing order.
Ahead of the Speaker's announcement of Ottah Agbo as minority leader, of course, so many things may have happened. And that's why I'm asking, as other members are asking, is it a good precedent that the Speaker ignored the party's letter announcing its preferred options, choices for minority leader and other positions? Is it a good precedent that he didn't acknowledge that letter?
The emergence of Ottah Agbo is in compliance with our standing order. The rule of the House empowers us to, amongst ourselves, elect the leadership. And this is pursuant to Section 60 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, which allows us, which stipulates that the House must be self-regulatory. The party wanted those names, they made their choices, but the members rejected the choices. And don't forget, it is minority leadership. It's not just PDP. We have PDP, we have ABGA, we have other parties.
Yes, so
they all came together.
How many members appended their signatures to the attendance list of that first meeting where the party chairman appealed, made his appeal?
That definitely I won't know.
So at the second meeting where Honorable Ottah Agbo as a leader was picked and the others, how many honorable members attended? How come
111
majority in the minority, that's your PDP members, were not in attendance?
111 people at the last count signed for Ottah Agbo. Selected Ottah Agbo as the minority leader, Tobi Okechukwu as the deputy minority leader, Gideon Gwani as a minority whip, and Ataka as the deputy minority whip.
Honorable Agbo, is it fair that a returning member to the House of Representatives who has had a long break, will be minority leader over a ranking member, Honorable Chinda.
Both of them are ranking. Don't forget that.
Don't forget that Honorable Elumelu is returning to the House. He has had a break of about 8 years.
His Excellency Akpabio, former governor of Akwa Ibom, came to the National Assembly for the first time and became the minority leader. He wasn't a ranking senator. Elumelu is a ranking House of Reps member. But what is most important here is the acceptance of the members of the House. Majority of the members of the minority parties went for Elumelu.
If he enjoyed a groundswell of support, why do we have so much discordant tunes?
No, everything is settled down.
Are you worried, like your other members are, that there's a grander agenda to break the ranks of the PDP in the House with the announcement of Honorable Ndudi Elumelu?
No, his emergence came from within. Order 7, Rule 8, which is a derivative of Section 60 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, gives or empowers members of the House of Reps to select, nominate, or elect the leadership from within themselves.
Members of the House went against their party.
No, not really.
But members of the House in the election of Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila as Speaker didn't go against their party, particularly the APC members there. So isn't it clear
some of them
how the leadership of the House in its election of minority leadership positions has broken the ranks of the minority, the PDP specifically?
Okay. I attended a meeting, PDP meeting, and I raised my hand. I told them very clearly that what the PDP should do was to what? Sponsor a PDP member in the House of Reps to be Speaker. Then we infiltrate the APC and poach their members. But they refuse. The point here is both Femi Gbajabiamila and Honorable Bago, both of them are of the APC. None of them is PDP. You understand? And so members felt that they could go for Femi Gbajabiamila because Femi Gbajabiamila, of course, has the 3 C's: the courage, the competence, and the character.
There are reports that even in the emergence of the Speaker, members were induced, particularly across party lines, to the tune of $10,000. That's what I'm asking.
No, the emergence of Femi Gbajabiamila.
Between the first meeting where Chinda was chosen and the second where Honorable Elumelu was chosen, whether there had been an inducement?
No, no inducement.
How true is it that cards were loaded with money for members to buy their votes?
No, there was nothing like that. There couldn't have been anything like that.
But you wouldn't tell us if there was something like that.
No, there was nothing like that. Let me tell you something. The emergence of Femi Gbajabiamila was a movement. You saw him, he was the only one campaigning. It was as if he was running for the presidency. He was across the country. He spoke to people, met people. Having done that kind of work, you don't really need to induce anybody. You don't need to induce anybody. Indeed, the two camps, the two candidates had powerful sponsors because of the caliber of people.
What was the nature of sponsorship?
No, what I mean by sponsors, but for example, in the House, you have big guys. I'm a fresher. You have big guys in the House of Representatives. You know, you have many of them supporting Bago. You have some of them supporting Femi. You know, talking. So I don't think it was because of money that Bago lost. I'm not sure.
Oh, you're not sure, or you know for sure?
I'm not sure. For example, I'm talking to you. As I speak to you now, the Bago has never spoken to me that he wanted to be Speaker. For example. And so with many of my colleagues, ask them, they will tell you. Let me give you another reason, some of the reasons why many of the members voted for Ndudi Elumelu. They felt that the chairman of the party is from Rivers. Because I owe you nothing but the truth.
I'm glad you mentioned Rivers.
Yes,
because the governor of Rivers State has also contributed to this conversation, and he described members of the House of Representatives as traders and merchants.
I take exception to that. Definitely. You know, God has a hand in everybody's history. God has actually primed Femi to be Speaker at this hour. That's the truth of the matter.
More critically now, your party's response to the disagreements at hand, will it make any difference?
No, the party...
Will your speaker be considering the party's, the outcome of your party's intervention?
No. The arrow has already left the bow. It can't return again. And I think that the party leadership understands this clearly.
Okay, so Honorable, before we exit matters arising on the Lumelu appointment as minority leader, for those who supported him, who supported his emergence, Honorable Linda Akpazu, Honorable Walioki, who got suspended, what happens? And particularly, how fair is their suspension? Because they're not the only ones who apparently, from the majority and the minority, supported Honorable Lumelu.
We have appealed to the party leadership to rescind its decision suspending Ndidi Lumelu, Tobi Okechukwu, Gideon Gwani, Ataka, Linda Ekwazo, Woloke, Edwin Anayo. I think about 7 of them. So we actually appeal to them to rescind their decision. And of course, leaders of the party like former President Goodluck Jonathan has appealed to the party too. Atiku Abubakar, our candidate in the last election, whom we believe truly won the election, has also appealed to the party leadership, to temper justice with mercy.
May I ask how come you were not suspended? You voted for Honorable Lumelu as well.
Yeah, maybe they just felt that I'm a newcomer. Maybe I'm a first-timer, and but I actually supported Ndidi Lumelu. Very capable.
And you still want us to believe that you didn't get that card that was given to members who voted Honorable Lumelu?
You know me from the newsroom. I don't go for that. I just sit down, check, and then follow my conviction. I was convinced that the position...
And it is your conviction that is making you do this job.
Exactly.
For Honorable Lumelu on behalf of the APC-led leadership.
No. We are actually...
Which you're very passionate about, by the way.
Watch and see. Nigerians will be very, very happy with us. We are going to give constructive opposition to the APC leadership.
After you have been compensated with Chairman, House Committee on Narcotics, membership of a juicy committee as Niger Delta Development.
Every member belongs to a committee or committees. I was not done any favor. Every member belongs.
A juicy committee as the NDDC committee.
Every member belongs. Even your state. There must be somebody on that committee from your state. Committees.
Is the NDDC committee juicy or not?
NDDC committee? I don't know what you mean by being juicy.
Okay, so define what juicy committee is in the context of the understanding of National Assembly honorable members.
I just came. On the street we hear about juicy committee, non-juicy committee. People have called me and say, reject this committee, drugs and narcotics. It's not juicy. I say, as far as I'm concerned, I can operate.
So you understand what juicy is?
I don't. But people have been calling me to say, drugs and narcotics is not a juicy committee. And I ask, what is the meaning of being juicy or not? Because I just came.
The position of speaker and the appointment of other presiding officers had long been anticipated right after the election was fought and won. And in fact, the House of Representatives and parties had well over a month to prepare. Why didn't your party put its house in order well ahead of the election such that this crisis now could have been avoided?
After we lost power in 2015, we have so many setbacks. A lot of things we actually distracted with so many things, weighing options and all of that. And I think that was exactly what happened.
So your party contended for power, but it wasn't prepared to address the possibility of victory. You're watching Fireworks. My guest today is Honorable Francis Ottah Agbo, representing Ado Okpoku Ogbadibu Federal Constituency. Let's take a moment. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying tuned to Fireworks on TVC. Today, my guest is the Honorable Member representing Ado Okpoku Ogbadibu Federal Constituency of Benue State, Honorable Francis Ottah Agbo. And we've been looking at matters arising particularly following the division trailing the announcement of Honorable Ndudi Elumelu as a minority leader in the 9th House of Representatives. Honorable Agbo, I'm still trying to find exactly where you belong, whether you belong to your party, the PDP, in this matter, or whether you are 101% loyal to Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila. And that's why I want us to revisit Order 7, Rule 8 that you mentioned earlier on. Now, does this order envisage that there will at some time in the history of the National Assembly be a minority within the minority?
Yes.
How did it explain that it will be addressed?
Yeah, just the way it was addressed. The members, irrespective of parties, if you're a minority member in the House, just come together and decide who governs you or who's your leader. That was exactly what happened. So, but by the time the PDP endorsed Bago, many members of the PDP felt that Bago wasn't a match for Baja. That's the truth. If it were to be Baja and Dogara, for example, the fight would have been tighter.
Is lateness a quality of good leadership?
No, they wanted is where, there are people, in politics there are so many strategies. Some people will keep the card to their chest and they unleash the card at the 11th hour. It had worked before, but a particular strategy may not work in all situations.
Smart explanation there. If Order 7, Rule 8 had anticipated that there would be smaller minority amongst the minority, why are those in the minority parties in the House of Representatives agitating to be included in minority leadership positions?
Because the name, just like the name goes, minority leader. So all the minority parties fall under that umbrella.
So how has that been accommodated or resolved in the list announced by Speaker Gbajabiamila?
Well, none of the other, maybe you could call them splinter political parties, or maybe none of the other minority parties indicated interest to occupy leadership position. The people who indicated interest are all PDP.
They addressed the press conference, so that explains that the last has not been heard about their own agitation for inclusion. The splinter political parties that you talk about.
They didn't ask for leadership position. They are talking about inclusion in House committees and all of that. And from the names released by the Speaker, they were accommodated.
And that's where I'm headed. Tension is also following that announcement in leadership of committees and all of that. Does it speak to how well or poorly the Speaker has handled it?
The Speaker has 360 members, including himself, to manage. So, and then you have committees, just about 100 and something committees.
You said there were no protests, but members were seen in groups while after the Speaker announced committee chairmanship positions. And according to reports, there was some disaffection, there was some disagreement over the announcement.
There was no disaffection. I think I want to seize this opportunity to call on my colleagues to be good managers of expectation. Expectation management is key. If you wanted B and you are giving C, or vice versa, you should take it calmly. Because the Speaker has 360 members, including himself, to manage, out of a committee that is just 100 and something. So you should know that it is not everybody that will get what he or she wanted. It's a normal thing. Even when Dogara was here, when committees were shared, there were people who expressed disaffection and what have you. But that doesn't amount to any crisis, because the Speaker, as chairman of the selection committee, has to do the needful.
Honorable Agbo, are you the spokesman of the minority caucus or the spokesman of Right Honorable Gbajabiamila?
I am the spokesman of the minority caucus.
Really?
And by the time you see us, just watch and see, you will know that we are ready to entrench the independence of the Green Chamber.
You appear to be in stronger defense of Honorable Gbajabiamila, which brings me to my next question. You are a first-time lawmaker and you have been appointed chairman Standing Committee on Drugs and Narcotics, and you're also a member of many other committees. Let's just mention a few of them: Niger Delta Development Commission, Nigeria Navy, Industry, Agriculture Colleges and Institutions, FRC, FCT Area Council and Ancillary Matters, Civil Societies and Development Partners, House Ad Hoc Committee on Recruitment. How come you have made such a strong showing being a first-time lawmaker?
Well,
is it your support for Honorable Gbajabiamila that has earned you this prominence?
Well, let me give you an example. The NDDC committee membership, I was not even there when my state, allotted that to me. The reason was very simple, that I had worked in the Niger Delta. I was chief press secretary to the countryman governor of Bayelsa State. They just felt that I should be a member of that committee. Since I came, I didn't lobby for any committee membership. Even these drugs and narcotics, they just announced my name. There were people who had called me to say I should turn it down, that it's not lucrative, it's not juicy. I told them very clearly that I can operate the National Assembly without being a committee chairman.
So you have 4 years to test your conviction. Let's go to your home state now, Benue. What is your legislative agenda, particularly being a first-time lawmaker?
Well, thank you very much. Like you know, every lawmaker has a tripartite responsibilities: lawmaking, oversight, and effective representation. I intend to make laws in this country, for the good governance of this country. One of the laws I intend to make, I intend to sponsor a bill to seek to amend the workings of INEC. What you call INEC in this country is indeed a dependent National Electoral Commission. We need to actually sponsor a bill to address that, to truly make INEC independent, so that all these problems, cancellation of results, election results we are seeing, will be drastically minimized. Closely related to this is the internal democracy bill. Our political parties are far from being democratic. You see somebody sitting in the comfort of his bedroom, they will just send names of candidates to INEC, and INEC will accept them. So as we work to reform INEC, to sponsor bills to address the challenges of INEC, we've got to also address the internal democracy imbalance in our political system. And I also intend to actually sponsor a bill that will address who a journalist truly is. What qualifies somebody as a journalist? Is it just when the person has a jota and a biro, and the person can speak good English or Queen's English? Is that what makes the person a journalist? We've got to address that. Section 22 of the 1999 Constitution empowers media practitioners, you and I, to hold government accountable to the people. But then the question not often asked is, if the media holds government accountable to the people, who then holds the media accountable? We need to address all of that and then set a minimum qualification that somebody must attain to be called a journalist. Now, why is it that our press council still remains a toothless bulldog? NUJ, toothless bulldog. Guild of Editors, toothless bulldog. Look at the NBA. They are not even assigned definite responsibilities in the Constitution like media practitioners. Yet, they have regulatory bodies, So we intend
Will your bill also anticipate the challenge of media ownership? How will it take care of the problem of interest?
Let me tell you this, you cannot totally take off interest. It should be done in such a way that substantially you know very clearly that the interest that is being captured is the Nigerian interest of justice and all that. Now,
that is an endless debate. Let's go to Benue State. What plans do you have for your people?
Yes. First and foremost, I've started on this note. I have channeled my 4 years salary to orphans and widows. It was a promise I made to my God, and we've started doing that. We've set up a committee that will be saddled with that responsibility. We are going to do the first disbursement in December. The name of the committee is Constituency Welfare Committee. We have set it up, and we intend to actually target orphans and widows. I am from a triangular constituency, 3 local governments, Ado, Opoko, Badigo. And we're going to start with 200 per local government.
So why don't you donate your allowances rather than your salary to your people? It will go a longer way in helping them.
If I donate the allowance, then I can't perform. I will just be like a monk without hood, because I need the allowance to travel, to do my oversight, to to take care of my office, to prepare my bills, to prepare my motions and all of that. And I also intend to, don't forget, I intend to ensure that I empower the youth.
The allowances are more.
I'm going to embark on talent.
Way more than the salaries.
The allowance is actually meant to do the work. It's actually meant to do the work. So if I give her the allowance, what am I going to use to travel, for example, to do my work? But salary is my own personal sacrifice. And I think it will go a long way, because it was a promise I made to God. And the widows and orphans, they are very happy. They have not seen this before. And, they are very happy. They are looking forward. They have been praying for me, and I appreciate that. Finally, on agenda for my people. My sister, I intend to properly and robustly oversight agencies and ministries of government, because they have been employing people. We don't know the quota that is accruable to our people. They engage people, there's employment year in, year out, and our people are not beneficiaries. So I intend to oversight them to ensure that our people become beneficiaries of employment. I also intend to make sure that there is massive scholarship. As I proceed on the work, I give scholarship to indigent students.
Yes, so let's talk about the problem of insecurity, particularly your state government's response to the federal government's Ruga policy. You must have strong convictions in that area.
In fact, the president said he has suspended it. The presidency suspended it. But that is not enough. It should be cancelled. Ruga should be cancelled. Should be cancelled completely. And then this country should embrace the best practice, which is ranching. They should ranch. That's the best global practice. It's not as if some people have told me that His Excellency Governor Samuel Ottah is just a propaganda bouncer. That the man is. I said, no, the man is a defender of the Benue Valley. I actually nicknamed him that. I gave him that name. Because it's not easy. He's protecting his people. Our people are being killed. The food basket state. You call Benue the food basket. Now it is no longer a food basket state. It's now a food basket of, it's now a basket of insecurity. Benue is no longer a food basket state. It's now a basket of insecurity. Insecurity that has led to senseless killings over the years. So, we don't want Ruga in Benue. The governor has said that clearly. The National Assembly members are supporting him. Stakeholders across the state, we are all supporting him. We are with the governor on this.
But then what do you do with the Fulani herders in Benue?
Ranches.
Surely they must find pasture.
They should ranch their cattle.
For their cattle.
They should ranch their cattle.
We thank you very much, Honorable Francis Ottah Agbo, for your time on Fireworks today. And
I will be very happy to see Nigeria move from what we call pretend federalism to true federalism.
And we also commend your generosity to your people. Thank you for watching. Join us again same time next week when we bring you another incisive edition of the program. On behalf of the crew, I am Bukola Samuel Wemimo. Bye for now.